before you put down weed barrier, wash this. And trust me, I really mean it. Hey, I'm enjoying my green shake. My beautiful bride made me here. Enjoying her delicious dinner that Buddy's become quite the chef now, y'all. And Buddy's stepping up.
Yes.
And becoming quite a connoisseur.
He's like the emergency chef.
Yes, yeah.
Like
Buddy's
if you've been homesteading all day and you're in some deep project, all of a sudden Buddy will disappear off the
Buddy
scene.
will be like, "Yeah, you want me to make dinner?"
Or not, or he won't say anything.
Or he'll just go make dinner.
He just disappears, and then you're like, "What happened to him?" And then somebody will be like, "Oh yeah, he's in the house making dinner." So.
Or they'll be like, "Oh yeah, he's skinning a skunk."
Oh my.
So that's Buddy for you. He'll either be skinning a skunk or cooking dinner, and hopefully one will not precede the other, because that would kind of be not so good.
Not to take away, but Matt made dinner last night.
Matt did make dinner last night.
All my boys can make dinner.
Yeah, I can make dinner.
And I know you can make dinner.
I have to.
I know.
I can make baked Alaska.
I can make dinner too if I have to.
My dad literally made baked Alaska one time in his life. I literally think it was probably the only time he made a complex dish of anything, and he made baked Alaska. And for the next 30 or 40 years, that's all he would talk about was that one time he made baked Alaska.
Except for y'all were too young to really remember it, so it was like this.
It was like an urban legend.
It was an urban legend.
It was one of my father's many urban legends. It was much like his. My father had many sayings that were. They were They were like menageries. Like instead of saying 6 and 1/2 dozens of another, he would say 5 and 1 and 1/2 dozen of another. So my dad said all that kind of stuff. 5 and 1 and 1/2 dozen of another. And I was like, "Dad, it's 6." He's like, "No, 5 and 1 is 6, and that's 1/2 dozen of another." But that was my dad. He would say, "Turkey's nothing but a bird," and then he would say, "It's illegal," and that was like one of his one-liners. But Let me explain what happened today because I was here. So, a southerly breeze that was probably more than 20 miles an hour graciously ripped up all the ground cover, all the weed barrier that we put down, which we realized it yesterday. So, gardener tip number 1 when you're putting down weed barrier, detect the most prominent way the wind blows. So the way the wind blows here is it blows from south to north, and that's why when you place your greenhouse, you want it to end, east to west, so your southerly breeze blows through and exhausts the greenhouse, right? So that's the way that our wind blows predominantly south to north. And when we laid down, we ran our weed guard east to west, right? So, but when we overlapped it, we overlapped it facing south. And as soon as we were done yesterday, you could see the wind kind of working on it. Mm-hmm. And I even said, wow, should we like pull up all the stakes and just flip-flop it so that it goes the other way? And we put more stakes in it. And I knew it was going to be a problem. And this is probably why guys like Curtis Stone recommend sandbags. Because what happened today was as the wind blew and it picked up momentum, it literally,
like within 5 minutes,
extracted all of the 4,000 square feet of weed barrier that we put down, and so perfectly yesterday. It was so nice and smooth. And it all got ripped up and aerosolized.
Yeah.
Well, not aerosolized, but
and
it took flight,
The
y'all.
thing is that if you would have put sandbags down the way that it was laid, you would have actually had to lay sandbags down horizontal the whole length of the whole thing on every single seam, because it wasn't laid properly, because it was the wrong end over the
So this is like a really big tip, and I watched a lot of these videos
Yeah.
of people putting it down, and nobody talks about this.
Yeah, so it's kind of a really big deal.
So this is like a hot tip. So we're going to name this video like, before you put down weed barrier, wash this. And trust me, I really mean it.
Yeah.
This is not clickbait or something like that. And it'd be a really long title and you won't be able to see anything.
Yeah. You should just consider the way that the wind blows and make sure, I hope we're saying it clearly enough. But if we're not, we'll get some other shots, I'm sure. And
I think we're saying it clearly enough.
Yeah, so you just don't want, if the wind is blowing, you don't want your top layer facing the wind because it's going to catch it. You want your top layer to be this way, like this way.
Yeah, it's just like when you overlap shingles or roofing, you know, you do a downslope.
Exactly.
You want this to overlap downwind.
Yes.
So as the wind blows across it, it's pushing it down instead of picking it up.
And thankfully, James was like, no, that's exactly what he said. He said, we're going to lay this like you lay shingles. Mm-hmm. He was like, because this is going to, and I was like, what is he talking about? Because I was just, my brain was just thinking.
Because I taught him, y'all. That's
sandbags, and then how many hundreds of feet of sandbags we're going to need, and then how much is that going to cost us? Like, and I was just trying to wrap my mind around all of it, and I was so excited, guys. So I was watching Living Traditions with Sarah and Kevin, because I think they're at least 5 years in on using the fabric cloth as landscape cloth as ground cover in their garden, and they love it. And I've been learning a whole lot from them. And then I was like binge watching Curtis Stone, and I was trying to just get all of the tips and tricks. I have like a note of just like all these different little things to fix and then to like keep in mind when we're doing stuff, and I was really into it. And then I went out there and literally watched it all.
All your dreams blew away.
But thankfully, very, very, very thankfully,
cooler heads prevailed. And the reason that God created man is so that man could take control of the situation.
yes.
And we allow emotions to simmer down, and that the testosterone
it was really,
and the clarity and the common sense.
Here's the thing. It was very, very interesting, because I can say that this was probably the first time in my parenting, homesteading experience where the roles were totally reversed. And I was the one that was like, forget it. Just forget it. This was all a bad idea.
You've never done that before.
And this is just a really, really dumb idea. And I need another duck pen anyway. I'm going to change it into a duck pen. I'll garden in the greenhouse. Just don't worry about it. And the boys, this is the first, the boys were like, on a big project like this, they were like, no, Mom. Like, no. This is no big deal. We can handle it. We're going to have a garden. It's going to be fine. We're going to do it. We're just going to fix it. Don't worry about it. And they just like talked me through it for like, guys, like an hour or more. And then I came in the house and I went back out, and then I was still like, just never mind. I just don't want to do it. Because I was so thinking that like, oh, so I'm just thinking, like, if you're overwhelmed with the idea of gardens and homestead and all this stuff, like, that is totally normal. It's totally normal to be overwhelmed by it. It's not all Pinterest and Instagram, and it's not all, like, Old McDonald's farm all the time. Like, it's real life. It's stinking hard work. Every muscle in my body hurts tonight, and I can tell you, I did the least amount of work here today. Physical work than anybody else did. The boys did a tremendous amount of work from like first thing in the morning until this evening, like they always do. But we did get a lot done. We got a lot accomplished today. Not just the garden. We got a lot done with the chickens and the orchard and different things. But it is like physical labor, and it comes at a great sacrifice. And you know, nothing got done in the house today. So there is just reality, guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally reality. Like, you know, no meals got prepared other than dinner. We had smoothie for lunch, and like, it just is what it is. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that's life.
if you have little kids and you're thinking about starting a homestead or garden or whatever, just keep in mind that what you see on Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff, they probably have help, or they probably have older children, or their children are in government school or something like that. Because I'm telling you right now, like, if it wasn't for our 3 oldest children, nothing that you see here would look the way that it looks. And our garden would not nearly be as big. Nowhere near as big as, and you know, and we wouldn't want to take on the tasks that we take on without them. So
Yeah, we say that all the time.
yeah, and we say it all the time. So we're super thankful for.
They said, "How do you do it?" Well, we have a lot of kids, right?
And we have older kids.
Kind of what you're supposed to do, and then
right.
Yeah, and then we have older kids.
You have to wait until they get older.
That are highly functional, well trained, older children that pay attention. They see what needs to be done. They do it, and I've trained them that when you work for somebody, you don't stand around and then think, "What do I do next, boss?" No, you see what needs to be done. You pay attention. You have common sense. You have more than 2 or 3 brain cells to rub together, and you paid attention, and you do it. And if stuff needs to be cleaned up, you clean it up. And the next thing you know, you're the highest paid person, right? And you're at the highest position just because 1, you show up,
Right.
2, you're borderline competent, 3, you're not a stinking brain dead vegetable
You just take
video game retard, right? You just pay attention, you exercise logic, common sense, and reason.
An initiative.
And you don't just stand around and, "Well, nobody told me what to do. Well, but what do I do now?"
Yep.
I did that. That took 5 minutes. I stood around for an hour.
So it was a really interesting day, because I can definitely say that today was the first day
Of the
that
rest of your life.
it was really cool to see the boys just really not, like, the roles were just reversed, you know, versus like all of the years that they were younger.
Yeah, and they want to quit just because they're young and they're kind of frustrated.
They're hot, they're tired,
Yeah,
they don't want to do it, they think it's dumb, you know. There's just been moments, you know, it's just real life, and it's hard work, guys. It's hard work. And all those years, and then today, I was just like, forget it. You know, not forget gardening, you know, we still have a greenhouse, we still have other places that we can garden and plant and everything, but I was just like, forget this whole grandiose idea of doing this market garden, never mind, the Lord doesn't want it, it all got ripped up in 5 minutes, maybe this is like writing on the wall that it's a bad idea, and we'll just roll it up, we'll use it in the greenhouse, it'll be fine. And the kids are like, no, Mom, like, you know, Buddy was like, Mom, we need a garden. Like, it's no big deal. We can handle it. We can do it. We're going to hook up the dripper system. It's all going to be fine. You're not going to have to do too much. It's going to be good. Like, they were just so trying to encourage me. And it was just a very funny thing, because usually it's the other way around. And not all the time. I mean, that's very rare now because they're older. But I say usually, but it was like in the past when they were younger, you know, it was just the other way around, where it was like, you know, we would be doing a big project. I mean, we basically had raw land when we moved here. And, yeah. And there was just moments that it was just really hard work. And mostly they take the initiative and they do it. They get it done every single day. They do all of the things all of the things, so that I can be mom to the little ones, because that's really, really important. But we're in full tilt spring garden prep season right now, and it's just that time of year, and it's just right upon us, and it's just really hard work. And I was reading something that Jess said from Roots and Refuge the other day, and she was like, you know, she's like, I feel like we're in that season of, you know, like you got to keep your nose to the grindstone, and you just got to stay focused, and you can't look up, and it's just like that grueling, like you got to plan, you got to do all the things, so that way later you can be like, oh, this is so nice. Oh yeah, it's really beautiful and everything. But right now it's just like the grunt work. It's like just the, you know, and it's fun. But when you have a larger family and when you have little ones, it's work. It's work too. So I'm super thankful. I guess that was the end of it, is just that I'm really, really super thankful for our oldest 3 boys, that they just have this tenacity to get things done and to work through it. And it was just really, that was just a blessing today. Just a super duper blessing, as much work as it was today, not just in the garden, but in all other things that we were getting done as well.
So what we after they wove it back the other way,
yes, yeah.
We just used some scraps from the saw mill, and we used some end cuts and some, in lieu of sandbags, we used some firewood, because we're almost done firewood season. We got probably this week we're gonna bring some wood in, and it's gonna get cool.
Right.
This week's 30s. And this is hopefully going to be the last hurrah.
Yes.
So that we can get some of these trees.
So that would be the second tip, I guess, of this. We should probably put it back at the beginning, is that if you're going to use this system, you should have sandbags,
ballast,
or some type of
rocks
weight,
or bricks, bricks or rocks,
mulch,
or
something to weight down like all the perimeter. You're going to have to weight that down, even if you get it facing the right direction and all of that.
Like some people, and I've seen them put it down, and then they just take a scoop of dirt and do the perimeter. You know,
yeah,
but that seems kind of messy.
Yeah, and I was just a little afraid to do that, and then like weeds start growing on the dirt, and you know, so I was just like, man, I want this.
Yeah, especially with bahia. I mean, in other areas where you don't have the bahia, and then I don't know if we explain what we're going to do. We're going to till around the perimeter, and that's where we're going to do all our sweet potatoes. So that way they'll ground cover out, and it'll keep it'll create a sweet potato perimeter all the way around, and the vines will grow up the cattle panel. It'll look beautiful, and it'll keep the bahia from taking over.
Yes, because they said if you let the grass and the weeds encroach onto your area, like they'll just take over it.
Yeah, I mean I had weed guard out front here, and that bahia will grow under it and through it, and that stuff is evil, man.
Yeah. So that's what our idea is. So we're going to just take the tiller and go around the whole outside of the perimeter of the garden and plant all of our sweet potatoes.
Garnet yams, Jersey sweet potatoes, and then we did it.
Successfully. We got a lot done today, and sometimes you just have to stop at the end of the day.
You know what Jim Rohn said? He said, don't get through the day, get from the day. I like it. Don't get through the day, get from the day. So what did you get from today?
I got a huge blessing that my kids
I like it.
have a very, very awesome work ethic. So anyway, invest your time in your kids, and
you will reap a return on investment of a magnitude that is unmeasurable.
Yes. Hope you guys have a great night, great day, great morning.
We'll see y'all in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Bye.